is a concern, but Dr. Nagarkoti believes tamping down the immune system could be a good thing.
There are about 80 different autoimmune diseases, and basically autoimmune diseases are triggered by your immune system going haywire, getting hyperactivated and destroying certain cells and certain tissues.
In multiple sclerosis, for example, the immune system suddenly begins attacking the brain and the spinal cord. Rheumatoid arthritis and lupus are similar diseases caused by the chronic inflammation associated with an immune system gone amok.
The cannabinoids dampen down response to bacteria or foreign agents or injury to tissues.
A lot of scientists and researchers are interested in those properties of the cannabinoids, in trying to see how we can suppress the immune response in autoimmune disease conditions.
For Dr. Nagarkoti, the research has gone far beyond treating inflammatory problems. He's narrowing in on the potential of cannabinoids to kill immune cells that have mutated and become cancerous. Once they become cancerous, they no longer die a normal cell death. Instead, they begin growing and spreading uncontrollably.
We were one of the first labs to demonstrate basically that not only the immune cells, the normal immune cells express these cannabinoid receptors called the CB2 receptors, but also that when these immune cells get transformed and they become cancer, to our surprise we found that these cancer cells continue to express these CB2 receptors.
This was an exciting discovery because the CB2 receptor can act like a target for the cannabinoids. Once they bind with the receptor, they can tell the cancer cell to die.
So basically telling the cells basically to commit suicide, and that's what they do. And we demonstrated that that would be the mechanism by which the cannabinoids can kill the cancer, and therefore it can be used effectively as an anti-cancer agent.
Dr. Nagarkoti and his researchers were able to eradicate almost 100% of the cancer in test tubes. But they were skeptical they would see similar results when they moved on to tumors in mice.
To our surprise, we found that almost 25 to 30% of the mice completely rejected the tumor. They were completely cured. And in addition, we found that the remaining mice also there was a significant reduction in the volume or the size of the tumors as well.
The lab results have been so promising that Dr. Nagarkoti is beginning clinical trials with leukemia patients. There's no doubt in his mind that the cannabinoids, either from the plant or lab created, will play a major role in medicine in the future.
I feel that in the next 5 or 10 years there is going to be exponential growth in cannabinoid research.
It's an area where both the critics and the advocates agree. Scientists are now well on their way to developing medicines based on the cannabinoids. It begs the question, however, will modern medicine eventually make the marijuana plant obsolete?
No, it will not. In fact, it will only enhance it. Okay, because now it's more proof that the plant really does work. Okay, and instead of spending $600 a month on buying the pharmaceutical drug, I can grow my own plants.
I don't want them to ever take the choice away because I don't know how long it's going to be before they really find out exactly what is working for me or for others. And right now, having the raw plant available is the best solution because you have all of it there. You don't have just what they've isolated, just what they've decided is important now.
Let's keep it in the corridors of science. Let's keep it in the FDA. Let's do what needs to be done, which is careful, longitudinal, placebo-controlled, crossover, head-to-head studies, and see where it falls out. But let's deliver what's really medicine. That is the individual cannabinoids.
They may come across some things that are better than herbal marijuana for one thing or another, and good luck to them. I'd love that. But I never want to see compromised the capacity of people to use herbal marijuana, whether it's because the drug that they've come up with is much more expensive, or it doesn't do as well, or whatever the reason, that people should always have herbal marijuana available to them without any constraints from the law.
Patients say for now the question is irrelevant. Science has not yet given them the opportunity to choose between an effective pill or the plant.
This is something where I have no other medical alternative to treat this condition. I have exhausted all of modern medicine's alternatives, and they have really screwed my body up.
She says cannabis has allowed her to hold down 2 jobs and make plans to go back to school and finish those last credits.
There is so much promise now where there was none before.
Without the 10 to 12 cannabis cigarettes a day, I would not be working. I most likely would be on disability. I'd be homebound, and I'd be a drain on society versus a productive member of society.
The federal program that allows Irvin Rosenfeld to legally use marijuana for chronic pain was shut down in 1992. Today, he's one of a few living patients who were grandfathered in and still receive marijuana every month, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayer. Point Hatfield believes he will never gain back the muscle he lost during his cancer fight, but he got his life back. And he thinks people should not underestimate this plant just because it doesn't come with a prescription.
It's medicine. It's medicine just like aspirin is, or Zoloft, Ativan. It's a medicine.
Marijuana is here to stay. It is certainly here to stay as a medicine.
Dr. Grinspoon says the social stigma surrounding marijuana has damaged the medical research for too long. Today, he's on the advisory board for the marijuana advocacy group NORML, because he believes the only way marijuana will reach its true medical potential is if it's fully legalized. He's felt this way since the 70s, when he predicted the medical promise of cannabis would lead to a repeal of the prohibition in less than a decade.
For years, I waited for my prophecy to come true, and I despaired that I would never see it in my lifetime. And I'm 82 and I have cancer now, so I'm not sure I will, but at least I'm seeing, here this boat was dead in the water for all the years I was running around testifying, so forth. Nothing. And now, since medical marijuana, wow, are we making progress.
Well, you're going straight to the heart of the issue, which really is the medical excuse movement is a means to get the camel's nose under the tent. The folks that are pushing the medical excuse movement really come from the medical legalization movement.
I think it's not helpful to brand people's motivations. It may be the case that there are some people out there who really are trying to legalize marijuana under the cloak of medicine. I don't happen to be one of them. I'm more interested in seeing if there is a medical indication here, and if there is, I think it is a social responsibility to provide that for people who are suffering.
The scientists are not here to make, policy decisions, but our goal is to find out the truth.
To that end, the American Medical Association and the American College of Physicians have taken positions that marijuana should be moved off of Schedule I to make research on the cannabinoids easier.
We who are involved in the science sort of wish that science would become more of a dominant driver in the messaging, as opposed to politics, religion, and ignorance and fear.
I like to say it's time to have more light than heat on the subject, and clear away the smoke here.
When you strip away the smoke of the social and political issues, one thing is clear. After decades of controversy, conjecture, and limited research, we have arrived at last in the realm of science. We know more about the secrets of this complex plant than at any other time in history. The only question now is where that knowledge will take us.
Support for this program was made possible by the Friends of Montana PBS and the University of Montana.